Thanks so much, Paula. I'm joined now by Congressman Don Bacon of Nebraska, Republican. He was in the room for the Israeli Prime Minister's address. He joins us now. So tell us your reaction.
I thought it was a great speech. The Prime Minister, I think he's concise, but he's forceful in his presentation, and he made it clear he's going to finish the job against Hamas in Gaza, and he's going to reestablish a Palestinian government of some type. It's got to be, can't be an adversary to Israel. But he also made it clear that Iran is the long-term threat, and they're the puppet master of Gaza, or I should say Hamas, Hezbollah, as well as the Houthis in Yemen. But he shows a moral clarity the way he speaks, and I think it's forceful.
Let me ask you, he did not mention the phrase two-state solution once, and you know this debate has been long-term, and there have been questions from inside Israel whether he has any interest whatsoever in what has been a long-standing bipartisan U.S. policy among Republican and Democratic presidents. Is that a mistake? Is he throwing all of his weight behind purely force as opposed to the possibility of a negotiated peace with the Palestinians?
My take, and I've met with him multiple times, been in Israel, he would support a second state, but they're not ready yet. They want to destroy Israel. I mean, they always say they want.
Who's they though? Hamas.
Hamas,
yeah.
and I also would say the Palestinian Authority really doesn't want an Israeli state. They see it as one state where they're in charge. That's how I take their response. I think once the Palestinians accept that they can have the West Bank, perhaps Gaza, they have to figure out how to connect the two. Then they can have peace. But there's really not an acceptance of Israel as a Jewish state. Until we get there, there's not going to be a two-state solution. But the Palestinians are going to have to come to understanding that if there's a two-state solution, one of them is a Jewish state.
Do you, of course, 80 Democratic members of the House did not attend today, 9 Democratic senators did not attend, and the Vice President, who normally would be presiding behind a speaker such as this, was not. She had a previous engagement, but you can imagine there might be a political element to that as well. There was a lot in this speech that seemed directed specifically to the Republican audience there. And there were moments when your side of the aisle was standing and applauding and the Democratic side deliberately was not. Where does Israel's relationship stand with America writ large as opposed to the Republican Party in America?
It's interesting that the dynamic I find in the House, we're very unified on Israel. We're divided on Ukraine, which I support.
Right.
But on the other side of the aisle, the Democrats are fairly unified on Ukraine and divided on Israel. And that's why we handled the funding bills. We did them separately because we get both over the finish line. So I got to give credit to the speaker. Good chess match there, and he played well. I want to make sure it's an American support for Israel, not just Republican support. I've traveled there. I went there at 15. I've been there as a colonel putting in missile defense. And I want America to stand by our ally Israel. And if it's just a Republican Party, that's not good for our country. It's not good for Israel. Because in the end, Israel will be at risk on that. And I wish the same thing for Ukraine. I would like to see more unanimity because America has a strong voice in the world. With strongest voice for freedom. And if we're divided on Israel, that threatens Israel. And I thought he gave a good speech that wasn't divisive in that regard. You're right. There was more support on the Republican side. No
question. There was, particularly as relates to civilian casualties in Gaza since the start of Israeli military operations there post-October 7th. He addressed that. He used the phrase practically none when describing civilian casualties there, and he said that Israeli forces should be commended for the conduct of the war. As you know, President Biden, who's been a steadfast supporter of Israel for decades, including since October 7th, he has criticized that there needs to be more attention to civilian casualties. And I've heard that, I will say, from Democrats and Republicans, and I've heard it from U.S. military commanders as well. Do you think that was a fair statement for him to deny any responsibility for civilian casualties in Gaza as a result of Israeli military action?
I would say generally I agree with him. But obviously there's been a lot of civilian casualties. But whose fault really is that? Hamas is hiding in the midst of the civilians, and they're the ones putting civilians at risk. I do believe Israel's trying to do their best to discriminate between
even
Hamas
with the weapons they're using, because some of the criticism from President Biden has been using really big weapons, and you know with your military background that commanders have choices as to what they use for particular. You could use a 2,000 bomb, or you could use something smaller, and oftentimes it's been the 2,000-pound bomb.
Well, the other side of that is if you do smaller weapons, you may not get your target, and then Israeli soldiers are being killed. So typically, if they're the other side of this, more soldiers will get killed for Israel, and that's a hard decision if you're the Israeli commander and you're going after terrorists who are hiding in the civilian population. But it's a conundrum. It's very hard. I mean, I served in Iraq and Afghanistan. When terrorists are hiding amongst the civilian population, it's hard. But I think I believe, is trying to do the very best they can. But in the end, they're going to kill Hamas. They murdered and raped 1,200 people. This is war as hell, as General Sherman said in the Civil War. And they're going to kill Hamas. And the best thing for them to do is surrender and give up. I don't think they're going to do that. But I think Israel is driven to finish this war, and it's going to end when they think Hamas is totally destroyed in Gaza.
That certainly seemed to be the message from the Israeli leader there. Congressman Don Bates,
it's a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks so much for taking the time. Paula, you hear the view from inside the chamber there. Well, actually, we're going to take a short break and then go back to Paula Newton as we continue to cover the Israeli Prime Minister's address to the U.S. Congress.